According to this paranormal investigator, a genie cursed him in his own voice. Let's enter this haunted home. While speaking to the spirits of the place, he hears an EVP.
Buradaki varlık kendini belli etsin. Bir işaret versin. Buradaki yaşayan insanları kaçıran varlık kendini belli etsin.
When he walks into the kitchen, something disturbing happens. And then the spirit gets aggressive, but nothing is inside the room.
Bana bir iş yapmışsın.
When he enters the bedroom, he sees it. But as he gets closer and closer, is this a magic trick? Well, it could be the genie himself performing a practical joke. I could also see how this could be faked, but then again, the knocking. Only a genie could disappear like this. A YouTuber named Alex Hayes and his friends find a cool looking stone perch overlooking the beach below. The good weather has them in high spirits, and it isn't long before they are playing around near the ledge. Alex wants to impress everyone with a headstand, but it doesn't exactly work out as planned.
Holy sh... Oh. Don't do that to me, Al. Oh my goodness. Holy... Oh.
Pause here and you'll see how close Alex was to tumbling over. He barely catches himself with his right hand, and if his right leg went back any further, then he would have definitely lost his balance.
It's creeping me out. I lived here for going on 7 years. I walked 100 miles through these woods. Never seen that shape before right there.
That's the reaction of James Jones after finding a strange human silhouette standing motionless in the Tennessee forest. What's especially perplexing is how James should be close enough to see the person's facial features, yet their entire visage is shrouded in darkness.
It's not a broken tree or whatever. I don't know. It looks like it's connected right there, but it's not. I've been over there 1,000 times.
Even if this was a tree, there's not much of a reason for it to be completely dark instead of the same color as every other tree around. It almost looks like the figure is wearing a colonial style hat. Maybe it's the spirit of a soldier from the Revolutionary War, or maybe they were a soldier in the Civil War. Let me know what you think it was, and if you think James was in any trouble on that day. A research team known as Ghost and Mystery wants to reveal all of the paranormal activity happening in their home country of Bangladesh, of which there is plenty to be found. They go exploring a haunted place in the woods. Everything in the forest seems to wail at them not to go inside. And someone tell me why they hear a child's voice while investigating this well.
Okay. যাই হোক হ্যালুসিনেশন বিষয়টা খেয়াল রাখবা সবাই
ওটা অনেক পুরনো
ওটা দেখাও ভিতরে
Freaky, right? The same ghost child's voice returns once more after they find a way inside, perhaps to shout a warning. Look again At 17 minutes 4 seconds, they briefly pause on a large figure next to a meat hook. That can't be good. One investigator feels overwhelmed by a paranormal feeling, a wave of negative energy if you will, and they need to rest. That's when they chance upon a makeshift stick hut in the woods behind the abandoned house. Wait, I see something really scary inside.
কুয়াশার কারণে কিছুই দেখা যাচ্ছে না। সামনের দিকে একটু উদয় সামনের দিকে আস্তে আস্তে কুয়াশার কারণে কিছুই দেখা যাচ্ছে না। আরে ভাই আমার শরীর ভালো হইলে আমি দৌড়াইতে পারতাম কিছুই নাই এদিকে।
Their light crosses the glowing eyes of a large figure standing on 2 legs. It's there for but a moment, and then the unknown creature sighting is no longer caught on camera. They end the paranormal exploration shortly after. A video that was posted to YouTube was brought to the attention of the Fijian police in 2015. The footage shows 4 men clinging to debris in the water as men on a tuna fishing vessel fire shots towards them. While the YouTube description stated that the men in the water were Fijian, the Fiji Tuna Boat Owners Association president Graham Southwick claimed that the footage is from Somali pirates failing to hijack some Taiwanese fishing vessels in 2014. Police, however, continued to investigate the matter and could not uncover any clear identifying evidence of the men or the culprits. Apart from the fact that the men on the boat were speaking Mandarin, pirates or not, this is no way to lose your life. Gary Reed Unfrequented World is the name of a YouTube channel that, at first glance, seems chock full of ordinary outdoor vlogs and entertainment. Gary goes on photography and metal detecting excursions, and generally enjoys hiking his large property in the northern Ontario wilderness, often accompanied by his loving family. But something threatens the tranquility of Gary Reed's Unfrequented World, a screaming cryptid deep in the woods that can twist trees in its powerful grasp. But more on that in a second. First, let me talk about Gary and why his observations matter more than the average YouTuber. Born in the small Ontario town of Redbridge, Gary Reed has been surrounded by woods his whole life. Aside from a lifetime of first-hand experience exploring the local lands, he also has a degree in environmental science and understands his surroundings on an advanced biological level. So when he says there is something out there that he can't explain, it probably means you or I can't either. His first encounter with it was at the age of 18 while staying in a cabin on Rabbit Lake, October 19th, 1994. That's when he heard a scream that sounded like a woman, but not quite. He describes the second scream as a wail, crescendoing into a howl, like nothing he's heard before. It ran through the entire camp, screaming from one side to the other, then it was gone. On April 30th, 2020, he heard it again.
That sucks. Can hear screaming.
It sounds almost human, but not quite.
This thing is still going on over here.
Here it is again with the audio turned up. I know foxes can make some weird noises, but this sounds like a person enraged. Camera in hand, he sneaks quietly towards the direction of the screaming to see what he can find. His trained eye detects a strange break in this tree, along with other trees that have been toppled over, all of them facing the same direction, like someone was running fast through the forest.
There's one there.
And next to the strange scene is a braided bunch that looks like something strong twisted it into this shape. Let me know if there is any other way for these branches to fuse together, if not by sheer force. The deeper he goes, the more it looks like something large has stomped through. Oddest of all are these large tracks left by what he suspects is a cryptid that walks upright.
Not mine.
It's clear to me that these are not your average boots.
Like toe prints in here. You can almost see the toes.
At 10 minutes and 25 seconds, he tries to trace an outline of its toes, but I think he's a little off. Here's where they begin in my opinion, much bigger. The next day he measured the results, and it reminds me of a certain cryptid with particularly big feet. I'm sure you know who I mean.
13 1/4 inches.
I think it's real, but just to throw out a counterpoint, I will say that rain from the day before could have eroded the snow and could have made an otherwise normal footstep seem much larger. Now let's switch over to some trail cams set up by Gary. This evidence, taken exactly a month earlier on March 3rd, is the most compelling of all. On March 7th, 4 days later, he and his neighbor hear another scream so shrill it sounds like it belongs to a child. He hurries out the door and finds himself alone and vulnerable in the pitch black night.
I gotta turn the dish back on. I can hear whistling.
A pair of animal eyes look at him from behind, but I think it might just be the light reflecting off his glasses back into the camera. But I could be wrong, because when they check around the same area the next day, his dog becomes agitated and seems not to want to proceed any further. Something is definitely up ahead. Maybe they are getting close on its trail. Not that its trail is especially hard to find when it leaves a path of giant bent trees in its wake. Could nature have done this? Probably not. It looks like something huge reached up and pulled it down.
That's a pretty big one.
And half a minute later, he finds this tree with a branch literally twisted off and set back in place. This doesn't look like a normal break to me because the tree looks rather healthy.
It's about 8 feet. And it's got a good twist to it.
Here's another perfectly healthy tree with green leaves, this time ripped in half by something strong, or maybe simply struck by lightning. Either way, that doesn't explain what animal is responsible for doing this.
You can see the bark and you can actually see lines. Well, those are tooth marks. See all those little lines are tooth marks.
I don't know what it is, but I know that anything that shreds trees while screaming is too dangerous for me to be in the same forest as. And that's only what's been going on for the past couple months. There's over a year's worth of cryptid content to uncover, so I encourage you to watch Gary read Unfrequented World and see for yourself. In the meantime, leave me your best guess as to what's doing this. Maybe we can crack one of the weirdest modern unsolved mysteries in all of Ontario. This clown puppet seems to be sitting up all on its own, though I guess somebody could be propping it up from behind. If it really is somebody off camera though, then please explain to me how this bright orange orb latches onto the clown's head 3 seconds into the video. The orb is just hovering in the pitch black darkness for a full 3 seconds, and then it attaches to the doll's hair as soon as it starts to move. That's too much of a coincidence for me. So do you think we're witnessing a spirit possess an inanimate object, special effects, or what? Dennis of Dark Ghost Paranormal is at his breaking point in this scary video. Published in March of 2022, Dennis encounters the most terrible demon in this haunted abode. Dennis conducts an EGF session with a horned skull facing a mirror. It tells him, "You let him out." After asking what he should do, the skull requests a ritual. He's told to burn it and take it to the swamp. Otherwise, the demon will follow him. He is also told that the demon is here. Dennis creeps around the house searching. He doesn't need to look far. Dennis is later dragged across the room by his heel. After regaining his feet, he calmly takes in the entire disaster zone. Then an object under a big draping robe moves toward him. Is this the demon? He'd better get to that ritual. I have a feeling there is worse to come. And you can see it's clearly the upper half of a young girl who is dressed in old-fashioned clothes from another time period. She is floating in midair as she curiously peeks in on the two children to see what they are doing. One of the girls still doesn't see the ghost. She shouts at something that's on television and accidentally startles the ghost away. The girl with the camera follows the ghost as it retreats. The ghost instantly teleports and now stares at them from the top of the steps. The scared girls run out of the house screaming. They stop only for a second to turn around from the street. They can see the ghost girl walking across the left window on the top floor. It vanishes and then suddenly appears on the bottom floor in less than a second. They scream even louder and take off again. A custodian calmly takes the elevator down to his workplace destination. Moments after he gets off, something appears to briefly dance overhead in the area where he was just standing. It could just be the blurry close-up image of a bug running across the camera lens, but it's weird how the round black mass slowly wanders over to where the buttons are located, almost like a real passenger would. It then somehow seems to blend in with the shadows against the door, which makes me think that this may not be an insect after all. Look at this part and tell me what you see going on here. After a while, things calm down, and nothing moves across the screen again for another full minute before the video ends, leaving me with the impression that this was a quick paranormal incident. The Drakelow tunnels in the United Kingdom was a classified nuclear bunker that mysteriously closed down from 1993. Almost no records of this place exist, but 3 men were once buried alive in a tunnel collapse. Shadow people are said to have been seen here ever since, and the Ouija brothers do capture some strange activity on camera, like this pitch black anomaly at 8 minutes and 45 seconds for example. Is this a black spirit orb or just a wall stain?
Walk towards my voice.
And a minute earlier they catch this passing white apparition against the wall.
Could you make yourself known?
The timing of the appearance in relation to the question is quite abnormal, but is it paranormal? I think so. A YouTuber named Seeking Legends has over 7 years worth of videos where he tracks down spirits and cryptids throughout the Las Vegas area and surrounding states. His subscribers know he doesn't play up his videos at all and isn't afraid to say when he thinks a location has nothing abnormal to offer. This wasn't the case when he went to a haunted forest on February 16, 2018 in search of the infamous White Witch, the spirit of a woman who once hiked this area a lot with her family and who was taken captive by unsavory locals. She escaped, but her family did not, and ever since then she has been roaming the woods looking for revenge. She cursed the land before taking her life in the very spot Cryptid Hunter stands now. He uses a paranormal dowsing rod, which is said to be able to tap into supernatural energy to better communicate with any nearby spirits. It isn't long before he finds one to speak with.
Can you point the rod to me? You see that I'm not moving this.
And I do mean speak with. There are no approaching footsteps, so it's not someone hiking, just eerie voices carrying over the water, just like the legends say, and the voices patiently wait until the command is complete before talking again.
Bend the rod in the opposite direction of me.
I don't think it's his nerves moving the rod, and his hand looks almost completely still to me, so maybe there's some truth to this piece of equipment after all.
If you were a victim of somebody in here, can you make my rod spin, please?
Here is an even better close-up of his hand at 8 minutes and 30 seconds. As the spirits continue to turn it around and around, none of his fingers are moving at all in the slightest. When asked for additional confirmation that the White Witch is here, 2 strange notes play. If you don't think this is paranormal, then tell me what you think would have made this noise in the middle of the forest. Soon he feels a presence guiding him and uses the rod to determine where to go next.
If this is where you want me to be, stop spinning the rod. Now. Where are you standing? Point the rod.
These instructions are further confirmed using his EMF meter, and at the end is a strange beeping noise coming from deeper in the woods that the EMF meter can't even make.
If this is where you wanted me to stand.
And just to prove it wasn't a coincidence, he easily gets it to respond again.
Can you do that again? Thank you.
There's no button on the meter for him to press to make it go up, supernatural or not. This was all the work of an external force of some kind. Every time he challenges the witch to move the meter, it does so without fail. Like here, for example, the timing is too much of a coincidence to be fake.
Unless you can make this device go on, then I'm not gonna believe that anything is here, haunting this area.
Apparently, it must have grown frustrated using the EMF meter over and over again, so it decides to answer his demands in a different way.
Make the lights go on. If you are the soul...
And before you say these are just lightning bugs, look again. They go from left to right one time, and then start over again in the exact same spot, so it's likely not an insect. It's getting dark soon, and the park closes, so Seeking Legends has to leave. Hopefully someday he returns to resume the conversation. But witch spirits aren't his only specialty. As mentioned before, Seeking Legends has experience hunting cryptids too. The desert cave is said to be plagued by skinwalkers, vicious tricksters of Native American legend who can assume a semi-human animal-like form. He isn't able to go down far because of breathing problems, but his worries start no sooner than the entrance when this glow stick, hung up as a marker to avoid getting lost, begins to sway in place all on its own. He's nowhere near where it begins to move, and maybe it's just me, but it looks like it's swinging even harder 3 minutes later, definitely not slowing down. Then outside of the cave, he hears what could be a Native American drum.
Listen, I hope the camera's catching that.
Hello?
And with one hand on the camera and the other visible, the angle shows it couldn't have been him making the noise.
Please tell me you guys heard that.
I will admit that the drums are a little hard to hear, but this last part isn't. Try to tell me what this voice is saying, because it sounds like it might be a different language to me, perhaps even backwards. I'm interested to see if you think this is a Skinwalker or voiceover editing. It sounds like it's coming from behind the camera to me, but I'm not sure. Something giant is swimming fast across Lake Okanagan, Canada, never breaking the surface for a clear look except for this part at 40 seconds when a fin flaps by. There's not a boat in front of it, so it's not getting towed. It's not a school of fish because I've never seen fish move in a perfectly straight line. It does appear to be one giant underwater creature. If you're going to cage a phantom, you're going to need a bigger door. Posted by Wo Cuyahoga. This footage shows you can't keep a ghost locked up. The hunters are holding an EMF meter toward a locked set of doors. After a moment, something pounds against the door and then rattles it, trying to get out. I'm not sure what the context of this video is, but one thing's certain, whatever's inside is not staying there. A TikToker paranormal team called Zodiac Supernatural is in the middle of the woods when this wild noise rips through an otherwise still night. Tell me if you can identify this creature, because it sounds massive and furious.
Really cold to be skinny.
I can't tell if it's being devoured, letting out a warning call, or just going crazy at their camera lights. I'm surprised that everyone doesn't immediately run away, which makes me wonder if they actually had some idea of what it was and possibly weren't telling us.
So it's really cold to be skinny. What the f is that?
two siblings go into their room after hearing a small, unrecognizable voice call to them. In their toy trunk, they discover a bizarre-looking doll that neither of them can remember putting in there. The doll remains silent until one of them goes to grab it.
And it's really creepy.
They aren't sure what to make of the toy at this point, but look what happens when they have a discussion while still in its presence.
Look at its little skinny legs.
That thing is like
I know.
disturbing.
It almost seems to respond to a comment about its legs by kicking twice and laughing. It's as if the toy knows what they are saying and is trying to play with their mind. Tell me whether or not you think that this could be an early warning sign of a poltergeist in their home. A gut feeling, a sensation, is almost worse than the reality itself. Say you're alone in the forest, the hair stands up on the back of your neck, you get the sensation that something is watching you. What do you do? Druid Raven Scout published this video in August of 2015, explaining this very scenario. Well, he packed up his bags to leave the forest. He said he felt something that he couldn't explain, a gut feeling that something or someone was following him. He said he felt threatening sensations as he walked the path over a couple of hours. He had planned on staying in the forest another night, but his intuition was telling him not to. During the 18-minute video, he explains that he feels like he's being observed. He also says he heard something strange up in the trees as he walked the path earlier. He does manage to escape the forest without meeting his stalker, but not without shaking the feeling that something certainly was watching. Would you dare to step foot in a house where someone's life was taken? The YouTube team from the New Reality Paranormal are investigating this cabin buried deep in the woods. When they first ask the spirits a question through the spirit box, they get a quick response.
Is there a man here? I think we heard you. What did it say?
It said here. It said here.
Here now? It's
Yeah.
The spirits then tell the guys what they need.
Nope. That was me. Please help. That's what it said.
It said please help.
Please help.
The team also discovers that the spirit passed away in a strange way.
How did you die? Did he say cat? Did he say cat? It said cat. It said cat.
Was a cat really the culprit? As they're waiting for more communication in one room, they get some REM pod action in another.
Thank you.
Then the cat ball goes off elsewhere.
Alright, we're back on 3, 2, 1. Oh, the cat ball! Oh, the cat! I got it. Cat ball's going off, and the REM pod at the same time.
Is the spirit trying to warn them about the cat that took his life? It sure seems like it.
I have chills right now, bro. It's going off again, bro. Hi. I'm looking right at it, dude. Oh my god.
They ask, and they get a direct answer.
Are you a cat? If you're a cat, can you touch that?
There it is. Look at it. Oh my.
As the cat ball continues to go off, they hear a disembodied voice.
Please tell me you heard that. Please tell me you...
Was it?
It was a voice, dude.
When they do the Estes method, they're given this ominous message.
So, my soul.
They later head outside, and the spirits can't keep up with them. Should they really wait for him? I don't know. This spirit could be the victim, or it could be the life taker. Either way, I don't think I'd take my chances. A YouTuber named Area Awesomeness claims these pet leeches are for more than just a show. Apparently, they can help treat things, but the only way to experience these supposed benefits is by letting a leech latch on to you. And believe it or not, these ones are only about a year old and not even full size. Adults can grow up to 2 feet in length and would pack an even bigger bite. With this in mind, the whole situation stresses me out too much to try it, but that's just my opinion. Tell me what you think about this part.
They can either be fed, I guess, human blood, animal blood, whatever you prefer.
And if you would be brave enough to try. Mature footage was shot somewhere in an underground sewage system. The cameraman is presumably a maintenance worker who is wearing a chest cam. Little did he expect to find a humanoid down there with him. The video begins with the cameraman seemingly frozen in place. The camera is very still, as if the maintenance worker is too afraid to move. Maybe he heard a noise and is waiting for a creature to reveal itself. Suddenly, a pair of floating eyes peer at him from the distance. The eyes appear to belong to some sort of nocturnal predator. They reflect so much light that all you can see are two gigantic white dots that are roughly as wide around as flashlights. The humanoid does not appear to have much experience with humans and seems apprehensive as it peers around the corner. It decides to run away and the cheap camera cuts out before we can see any more of the chase. The creature seems incredibly fast and probably got away, but exactly what happened next is anyone's guess. The video footage survived, so the cameraman probably did as well. Then again, maybe they recovered it from his dead body instead. There's just not enough information out there to say for sure. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.